Hey you guys, welcome back. Today I thought that it would be really fun to do my take on a classic cool toned 90s like grungy makeup look. I do tend to do a lot of kind of grungy inspired makeup tutorials on my channel, but I don't think that I've ever done a cool toned grungy eye on my channel. Honestly, now that I've done this look, I feel like this is probably the most accurately grungy makeup look that I've ever done. Like, this is kind of how it was done in the 90s, you know. I have kind of updated it a little bit. I have kind of put my own spin on 90s makeup. Like, I know that like brows tended to be a little bit thinner, so yeah, I'm very excited to be doing a cool toned look for you all today. I'm really happy with how this look came out. The lips are, yeah, I've never ever worn my lipstick like this in my entire life. You guys already know, I'm definitely more of like a pinky nude kind of gal, not like a chocolatey nude kind of gal, but I actually really like how this lip came out, and I think it complements the eye really well as well. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy this video and this tutorial. If you guys are new here, it would be amazing if you could hit that subscribe button and stick around on my channel, and it would also be amazing if you could give this video a big thumbs up as well. If you guys want to know how to get this look, then stay tuned. I'm going to start off with priming my eyelid, and I'm using my favorite PLouise eyeshadow base to do this. I've tried pretty much every single base that is out there, but I always go back to this one. I just really love the way my eyeshadow sits on top of it, and I also really like how it blocks out the entire eyelid as well, so it's just really giving you a nice clean canvas to work with. So I'm just applying this all over the lid using a tapping motion. So I'm taking this shade here. This is from the Morphe Bronze Goals palette. I'm sure everybody has a shade like this in their collection that they can use. You don't have to specifically use this palette for this look. But yeah, we are taking this sandy brown today, and we're going to be applying this in our crease. I'm going to start off using a smaller blending brush. This is a Morphe M506, and we are using this brush in the inner section of our eye here, and then we're going to switch to a fluffier brush as we get to the outer section. I do really love how much control you have with this brush. I feel like this is a brush everybody should have in their collection because it really just comes in so handy for so many different things. Then as we get to this outer corner, I'm going to switch over to a fluffier blending brush, and I'm going to start just kind of sweeping that colour out towards the temples, just kind of creating that nice soft blend on the outer corner. By the way, we haven't blended this section yet, we have only added that colour into the crease, so if it is looking a little bit chunky, don't worry about it. And I do like to just kind of like pack the colour on first, just to make sure that it is nice and solid. Don't worry too much about blending. This is more about getting that shape before anything else. So now I'm going to switch over to a clean blending brush. I know that this does look like the brush that I just applied the colour with. It is a totally different brush. It has just got a teeny little bit of colour on it left over from my other eye. We're now just going to start blending and diffusing all of that shadow in the crease. So I'm going to be switching over to the Naked Smoky palette. This is honestly my favorite cool toned palette, and if you are wanting a palette that has a really nice selection of greys and very cool toned brown shades, this one is your guy. I use this Naked palette far more than I ever used any of the other ones. This is actually the only Naked palette I still have in my collection, and I use it all the time. I absolutely love it, and yeah, I just think it's totally underrated. So the first shade that we are going to be going in with is this shade here called Password. I'm going to be grabbing my little Morphe M506 brush again, and just like we did with this sandy brown colour, I'm going to start off by applying that grey in the crease. I'm just keeping it very, very tight to the crease as well. I'm not going to be blowing this grey shade out. I want to keep it as close to the lid as possible. So we are going to start off using a small brush first of all, just so that we have more control with that colour. And then I am going to switch over to a standard blending brush and start blending over the top of that grey, blending that colour into the crease shade that we laid down beforehand. We just kind of want to merge those two colours together. And I am also going to start packing that grey onto the outer corner as well. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit more of that PLouise base, and then using a flat brush, I'm going to start applying this into the inner corner of my eye and just bringing it very, very gently across the lid. And we are just cleaning up that section here. I'm going to take this cream shade from the Naked Smoky palette, and this is in the shade Combust. And I'm going to be applying that over the top of that base, and I am just using the same flat brush to do this. I'm not going to switch my brush. And then using that blending brush and that dark brown whiskey shade, I'm just going to pop a little bit more of that on the outer corner. Okay, so we are getting there slowly. I'm now going to be applying eyeliner. So I'm going to be using the NYX Matte Liquid Liner. This is... I need to get a new one. I am not going to be doing a wing today. I'm just going to bring that liner to my outer corner, and then we're going to blend it in with a little bit of black eyeshadow. Okay, so eyeliner is done. It's looking pretty good. I do need to blend in this little outer corner here. I did want to kind of just diffuse this eyeliner a little bit. This type of brush is your best friend if you do want to smoke up your eyeliner. This is a Morphe M410, and it's honestly so much easier to make your eyeliner look smoky than you probably think it is. I am going to be taking that whiskey shade, and what I like to do is just press the eyeshadow over the top of the liner, and laying the brown over the top of the black will look a little bit crazy at first, but we do use a black eyeshadow as well. You can kind of just run that brush back and forth like so, just to diffuse it a little bit more. We are going to be switching over to a black eyeshadow, and I am going back into the Morphe Bronze Goals to do this, as the Urban Decay palette actually doesn't have a black eyeshadow. That is the only thing that I think I would change about that palette, is adding a black eyeshadow in there. I'm just pressing that black eyeshadow again over the top of that liner, but just kind of keeping that below that dark brown that we just applied. And then for my lashes today, I'm using the Rouge Rogue Noirella Lashes. These are my absolute faves, but I do always trim the inner corner slightly. I really, really hate the feeling of lashes on the inner corner of my eye, so I always kind of trim them very, very, very slightly, and then once I do that, they're so comfortable and just so easy to wear. I do also have a code for these lashes if you are interested in trying them out for yourself. I will put it on the screen, and I'll also put it down below in the description box for you. Okay, so that is the eyeshadow and our lashes done. We are going to be going into the lower lash line, but I did want to do the skin first, just because I think it will be a little bit easier, and then obviously I will do my brows off camera. Okay, so when I think of 90s inspired skin, I think of very minimal sheer coverage, very dewy, natural, glowy skin. And for some reason, I always think of freckles as well. I don't know why, I just think of like, I don't know. I honestly don't even know why, but I am going to be doing freckles today just because I think it will tie this look together. But yeah, I don't really want to go for a crazy like full coverage, because I just don't feel like it is very, I don't know, maybe it was 90s, maybe people did go for like that full coverage look, but whenever I look at 90s images, I just see like very natural glowing skin. So that is what I'm going to be doing today. So I'm going to prime my skin. I actually don't know what primer to use today. So obviously we do want to be going for a nice fresh glowy look today. So I'm going to be using this primer from Milk Makeup. This is the Hydro Grip Primer. I talked about this in my last video, which was a full face of Milk Makeup, but as I said in that video, I just feel like this is the perfect primer when you want to go for that very, very dewy, glowy, fresh skin look, and it really helps your makeup to just stay put all day. So I'm just going to press this into the skin. And then I did also think that this would be a perfect product to use when doing kind of like that model 90s fresh glowy skin. So this is the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury. This stuff is just so stunning. I find that whenever I use this, I always use like just way less foundation, because I always think it just makes my skin look so much better. It's kind of like my skin, but better. And you could totally just wear this on its own as well and just do some like faux freckles over the top, and I feel like that would look so gorgeous as well. But I am going to be using a little bit of foundation today just because my skin is a little bit more red at the moment, so I'm going to cover up all of this redness that I've got, but we're still going to go for that natural coverage. So I'm going to put this Hollywood Flawless Filter just kind of on my cheek area. I applied this product basically everywhere where I would apply a highlight, because I don't like to apply it all over the skin, because I do find it can make you look very glowy, which is not a bad thing, but I just prefer how it looks when I apply it in specific areas. So I've just popped that onto the skin, and then I'm going to take my beauty sponge and just press that into the skin. So I'm going to be using the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder Foundation, and this is in the shade, oh, I don't even know because it's rubbed off. I think it's the shade 4.5. I'm not entirely sure. I'm so sorry. So I'm just going to put a dot on each cheek, a dot in my forehead, a little bit on my nose, and just a little bit more around the chin area and my nose where I feel like I need that coverage. I am going to blend this out with a brush that I normally wouldn't use this to blend foundation out, but I think that this is perfect when you want a very sheer coverage to use just like a very fluffy brush. So I'm going to use this angled brush from Morphe, and I am just going to dampen the brush with a little bit of this Anastasia Dewy Set Setting Spray before I go ahead and just buff all of that foundation out. Okay, so that is my foundation done. I really like that I can still see all of my freckles coming through. I feel like once I put my faux freckles on, everything is going to blend together so nicely. So one thing that I am going to skip today is concealer. I just really want the skin to look as natural as possible. As I said, whenever I picture sort of 90s grungy makeup, it's not super perfected skin, and I just don't feel like concealer is really needed for this look. So I'm going to move straight into bronzer. I do just kind of want to bronze up my cheeks a little bit. So as always, I'm going to use my Milk Makeup Baked Bronzing Stick, and I am just using this little Morphe Y4 brush to apply this. Again, normally I would just kind of like go straight in and apply this bronzer, but I want it to look super kind of like diffused, just kind of like a flush of colour on the cheek. I don't really want it to look like a perfect bronzer look, you know? Instead of looking like I've put bronzer on my face, I just want my skin to look like I have been out in the sun. I think that's probably the best way of explaining it. So I'm just running a little bit of that bronzer over the nose. Okay, so seeing as I didn't put any concealer on my under eye, I don't need to set my under eyes today, which is pretty great. But for just to set my makeup in place, I have got this new powder from Hourglass. I have been wanting to try this powder for so long, and it's just such an expensive powder, but I finally picked it up because I am still still to this day on the hunt for the perfect face powder. I've yet to find it, but I am a big fan of the ambient lighting powder, so I thought I would try out the loose setting powder. Look how bougie. This is probably the most bougiest powder that I've ever owned in my life. I have seen quite a lot of people that I watch on YouTube recommend this powder and speak quite highly of it, so I'm really hoping that I love it. I am very fussy with powder. I really hope that I do love it, considering that this powder was like super expensive. So I'm just taking the powder on a Morphe Y5 brush. I just blew it everywhere, and I'm just going to press that into the skin. Basically just setting the areas of my face that get a little bit more shiny. So I'm just setting around my nose and my forehead as well. I'm not going to put any powder in this section of the face because I really want to keep that natural kind of dewy glow going on. Aside from the freckles, the skin is almost done. I am going to add a sweep of a powder bronzer. Honestly, I don't want to go overboard with this. I literally just want to put the tiniest bit on my cheeks. So I'm going to just dip into this a couple of times. This is the Morphe Glamabronze bronzer in the shade Megastar, by the way. I spoke about this in my... I can't remember what video it was, but I really like this bronzer at the moment. It's one of my go-tos. So I'm just sweeping a little bit more bronzer onto my cheeks. Okay, so I know that I do tend to do faux freckles in my makeup routine anyway, but I do kind of want to go a little bit extra with the faux freckles today. I really want like freckles everywhere. So as always, I'm going to be using my Freck. This is honestly the best stuff for doing faux freckles. It's just so quick and easy. If you haven't tried this stuff yet, I really do recommend it. The only thing I don't like about this is I think that they need another shade, because this is kind of like a perfect shade for me, but I have a feeling if someone with a darker skin tone tried to use this, the freckles may not show up so well. So yeah, I think that that is probably one thing that I would say about the Freck is that they do need to add maybe 1 or 2 more shades, I would probably say. I'm going to start off with my nose area, and then we're going to move on to like other areas of the face. And the trick with doing faux freckles, I think, is just to not overthink it. I honestly just dot them anywhere, and then I take my finger and just pat over the freckles. Freckles are absolutely not something that are symmetrical, so don't worry about trying to get them exactly the same on both sides either. Some people do have more freckles on one side of their face. It's totally normal. So yeah, I just literally dot the freckles everywhere. And then I'm going to start putting some on my head as well. I do normally always put freckles like in this area, but I'm going to add a few more than usual today. Okay, so freckles are done. I know that the freckles are a little bit like OTT, but I do really like how my skin is looking as well. I can't believe that I haven't used concealer today, which that is like crazy to me. I use concealer all the bloody time. I did also very quickly do my brows off camera as well. I know my brows are not very 90s. I'm definitely rocking the bushy brow look, but they should have been 90s, okay? Because these kind of brows complement this kind of makeup very well. I've just popped a little bit of Urban Decay Whiskey eye pencil in my waterline and on my lower lash line. So I'm going to start blending that out. We are going to be going back into the Urban Decay Naked palette. So first of all, I'm just going to smudge the eye pencil outwards. I'm just using this flat brush to do this. And then I am going to be going back in with this grey shade and just smudging this over the top of that pencil that we just blended in. Kind of want to make that lower lash line just a little bit more grey. So I'm just popping some mascara onto my lower lash line. Again, I'm just using my Milk Makeup Kush mascara. I'm like a total mess. Okay, so lips. Really want to do like a proper 90s nude lip, so I am going to be using more of a kind of like a brownie nude lip pencil and then like a lighter nude in the center. So for my lip pencil today, I'm using Conspiracy from Urban Decay. I think that this is going to be the most perfect 90s nude lip pencil. So I'm going to line my lips first of all. Okay. Oh my god. So there we have it. This is my take on a 90s cool toned grungy makeup look. Overall, I'm very happy with this makeup look. To be honest, the eyes and the brows are generally how I wear my makeup anyway. I am already just like very influenced by the kind of like the 90s and like grungy eyes with my makeup as it is, so I don't really feel like my eyes are anything different. I've never ever worn my lips like this though. Like, they are very overdrawn and very 90s. Let me know what you think down below. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and yeah, if you guys are new here, it would be amazing if you could hit that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and I will see you on my next video.